When you run Facebook ads, you might notice in the last couple of months that the CPCs are growing, but unfortunately in a negative way for you. So in this video, we will talk a little bit about the CPCs on native. I will show you that they are way cheaper than on Facebook and that the cheapest CPC isn't always good. And by the way, the highest CPC, same. So the highest CPC doesn't mean automatically that the click itself converts better. Hi everyone, my name is Marcel Sattler. I'm the founder of PurpleBlack, a native advertising only agency. So what we're doing on a daily basis is we run performance campaigns for our clients on traffic sources like Taboola, Outbrain, Yahoo Gemini, and many more. And in this video, I will talk a little bit about CPC, so the cost per click. How much does a click cost on native? What's the necessary information which you need there, and so on. And by the way, the CPC is one of the biggest mistakes people do when they start with native. So let me introduce you why the CPC is one of the biggest common issues when someone is starting with native traffic sources like Taboola or Outbrain. So let's compare it with Facebook. On Facebook, you just have to edit some things and say Facebook, hey, I want to spend $100 per day for this campaign A and $80 per day for the campaign B. And Facebook now adjusts, or the algorithm on Facebook adjusts more or less the CPC because of the bidding system, because of the of your competitors, and because of how much traffic in general is available, and of course many other factors. And yeah, the CPC or the algorithm works a little bit better in the past. Since the iOS 14 update, it sucks a little bit, but it's still more or less working. So you don't have a lot of capabilities when you run a complete normal Facebook campaign. You don't have a lot of capabilities to adjust the bid, or the CPC in this case. Of course, you can do it with manual adjustments, but most of the campaigns are just fully automatic campaigns, and normally you don't have to care about the CPC or the bid. On native, it's a bit different. It's a quick word game, a bit different for the bid. So on native, it's a little bit different because you have to start with a bid. So you have to say, for example, Taboola or Outbrain, which CPC are you willing to pay for one click for this campaign? And that's extremely important because yes, those platforms like Taboola and Outbrain, so the major platforms, they have some algorithms, but they are way not smart as the algorithm from Facebook is, for example. And the algorithm more or less just means that they will adjust your bid a little bit up and a little bit down from your typed in bid. But with your bid, which is set up in the beginning of a campaign, you already say for Taboola or Outbrain the main direction where it should go. And here's the issue, because many advertisers are not familiar with a bidding system. And now there are two options. Option one is they start too low, with a too low bid. And what happened then is no one will see your ad because you refresh, press F5, but you see the campaign isn't spending any money. Or let's say you want to start with €100 or dollar per day, and at the end of the day, your campaign just spends around $4 or $5. That's because your bid is too low. So that means there are competitors out there which are willing to pay more for the same audience, for the same click than you. And of course, the traffic sources like Taboola and Outbrain, they will take a little bit more money than that money that you are willing to pay. So first issue when someone is starting completely new with native ads is to start with a too low bid. But the good news is there is not a lot of danger. So you see, okay, my campaign is not spending any money. Another option is the too high bid. And that's more of an issue, because what happens sometimes, and what I already saw in the past for many people. So they started because they think, hey, native ads is a fantastic way to make money. So they set up a completely new campaign in a completely new account, which everything is from scratch. They start with a daily budget from $1,000 and they think, okay, no worries, I can adjust it between the day and so on. And they set up a way too high bid. What's happened then? So they set up the campaign, catch a new coffee, go to Starbucks, and then they come back, press F5, refresh the page, and then they saw $1,200 are blown away with 0 conversions in just 30 or 40 minutes. How is this possible? Native ads sucks. So that's because the bid was way too high and you don't have optimized the campaign, because normally you don't run on a whitelist or you don't have excluded some publishers. You get a lot of junk traffic and all that stuff. So that's the most 2 cases which I see when someone is starting completely from scratch with native advertising. So let's see how much the bid is for real. In general, you have to decide for which country you need the bid, because of course, for every country there are different bids. For example, the bid in general or on average in the US is way higher than, for example, in Italy. And that's the first thing which you have to take care about. So in which country you want to advertise. And another indicator, or the second indicator here in this case, is for which device type. Because on native you split campaigns for devices. For example, in general, in the beginning of a campaign, when you want to test something out, you start with a mobile campaign, with a tablet campaign, and with a desktop campaign. And you're starting to separate them because of the different bid, but also because normally you're reaching different audiences. For example, on a mobile device, you're reaching a more young audience than with a desktop device, just in general. And of course, there are way more mobile devices than desktop devices. So again, just in general, the bid on a mobile device is the cheapest one, which you can get on native. The second one is the tablet traffic, which unfortunately is very good, but there is not as much tablet traffic out there as we wish that it would be. And last but not least is the desktop traffic, which is the oldest one, but also a very good converting one in general, and of course the most expensive one. And now I think now it's the point where I say, okay, I completely got it. How much is the CPC? And unfortunately, I cannot say it to you in detail, because it depends on a lot of factors out there. But when you start, let's recap it very fast here. For Europe, for example, when you start in Germany, it could be something between 15 cents up to 78, 85 cents. So something in between there. Again, it depends a little bit on the device type and some other factors. And in the US, it's something between 35 to $1. Again, just on average, not to get here into much details, because it always depends on many factors. So for example, when we start in a new country, we are always asking our reps on the platforms, on Taboola, on Outbrain, hey, what's the average CPC there? And they will advise it to us. But normally in 99% of the cases, we already have some legit data for every country, because we have a lot of campaigns all over the world. So therefore we are already familiar with the bids in this country, and we know what's practical, what's the way to start with, and what's the way how we can optimize the bidding system for the campaign in this country XYZ. And the bidding system, unfortunately, is also part why it's very hard to start with native completely from scratch. And not just because it's my business, but also to save you a little bit of money. I highly recommend you to start when you say, okay, native ads is a great fit for my brand. I know it very good. And I want to start with native. So then I highly recommend you. And again, please, it's not just because it's my business, but it's also real advice from, let's say, from a friend, because I know when you start completely from scratch by your own, you will 99.9% for sure lose money, burn money. So it's a bad investment when you take the money and go for holiday. But when you want to start with native ads, I highly recommend you to ask someone who already have experience with native ads, who is already familiar with the different bids, with the bids in the country, with already also experience to run ads in a country where you want to advertise your products or services. And I know many people are now there in front of your screen and say, I know you say it because you have a native advertising agency and you have to say it, but no, believe me, there are many people who tried native ads, and just ask them. From 10 people, 9.8 are losing money from the beginning because of the bidding system and because, of course, of many other factors out there. I hope I could bring you a little bit of more visibility into the different bidding systems here in native advertising traffic sources like Taboola and Outbrain. If so, I would extremely appreciate it when you give me a thumbs up for this video, and of course when you subscribe to my channel to get notified when I upload a new video here on YouTube about native ads. Have a good one. See you next time.